Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, and turn on notifications so that you will receive alerts when there are new episodes. Go get it.
That's what I tell them. I've been grinding for so long, I wake up and chase my goals. I go out and I go get it. How to code, that's all I know. I don't succeed, then I don't breathe. Success, what does it mean? If I conquer all my goals, then I'm living out my dream. Dig deep, go out and get it. Success Chronicles. Compete until it's finished. Success Chronicles. Go take care of your business. Success Chronicles. It's deeper than just winning. Success Chronicles.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Chip Baker coming to you with another episode of the Success Chronicles. And today, pretty excited about this one. We have Miss Samantha Burke with us. Great lady that's doing some really neat things. And I'm so thankful to have her on this episode of the Success Chronicles. So first off, thanks so much for taking the time to interview.
Thank you. I really appreciate the opportunity to be here, Chip, and always love meeting people like you who are doing amazing things in the community to lift others up. So thank you.
Yes. Well, let's dive into it. I know,
Great.
previously, we've talked about your amazing journey. If you don't mind sharing your story and your journey with the audience and tracking that until now.
Absolutely. I'd love to. So my journey actually started in East Chicago. I was born there, left in the hospital, and then put into foster care. So let me tell you a little bit more about that.
Oh,
So
wow.
in my childhood, it was such a unique space for me to experience selflessness so early on. And that was from my parents and their endless love and wanting me to continue to feel like, hey, Samantha, we have chosen you. We want you to feel like you have a home, you have a space where it's a place of safety and warmth and love. And for me, experiencing that growing up, my goodness, that was very, very special. And it definitely has shaped me to be who I am today. But in reflection, we had a lot of foster babies come through our home, a lot of brothers and sisters, right?
Yeah.
And for me, I felt like that was so special. And I was officially adopted by the home that I was in the foster care with. And that was when I was 4 years old. And I felt like such a princess there, right? Like they made me feel like I could be and do anything that I dreamed of. So my childhood was really shaped in imagination, being creative, thinking that of course I can do anything that I want to do. And so that really helped propel me into going into a life of, well, what ifs? What if I became a singing soccer player? What if I was a Russian princess? Like, right? I
Yeah.
had all of these bits of identity that I held on to. And in reflection, it really is because my parents really shaped me to have those types of conversations. And then when I was growing up, I experienced some loss in my life, lost 2 siblings to alcoholism. And that kind of shakes you, right? It's not all rainbows and
Right.
butterflies.
Yep.
And when you experience that, my goodness, you take a look around and you see that life does happen. And how do you not let those things weigh you down? Instead, how do you lift yourself up out of that? And how do you learn from that experience? And how do you encourage others from your own transparency, your own vulnerability, and your own story? And so early on, I started owning that. And instead of coming to that fork in the road and letting things define you, I decided
Yeah.
to rise above it. And being in foster care and adopted, I think that really helped me from an identity standpoint to say, okay, well, there are these things that are happening over here, but I still have a lot of this unknown, this other piece of my identity that I haven't ever experienced before. And so in 2009, I went out searching one day, found my biological family, which is a whole other story,
Mm.
and found out the truth of where I had come from, which was also a very, very hard day for me. Really uncovering that, okay, well, maybe I'm not exactly where I have come from, right? Like I thought that I could be, again, that Russian princess, because I grew up in Anastasia world, right? Where we thought we
Yeah.
could be anything.
Yeah.
And for me, it really shook me to my core. And again, being able to go home to a loving family, that seems to be the common denominator through all of this. We always had that love at home that I knew I could just run to, just to escape to, and know that, hey, Samantha, it's going to be okay. And we just can't let these things define us. And I decided to continue to push forward, mostly out of the belief that I believe in a higher power, and I know that I'm not alone and I can get past things. But also, I needed to make my parents proud, right? They have poured so much into me, and it was time for me to continue to strive forward and propel. Went to university and found my husband there, and I guess the rest is history. I've been with Pass the Torch for Women Foundation, and that's been a whole nother piece of my identity and another chapter. So.
Wow.
A lot to unpack, I know, Chip.
Yeah, such a cool story, neat journey. There's a quote that I have that I say it on, and it goes great for this. Your ace can be someone else's saving grace. Your adverse child experience. When you take the blessings from the lessons and use those to help others, it can be someone else's saving grace. Like you're using those experiences to help you be passionate and pass the torch for women in what you do today. And so I think it's awesome, and that you've taken those things and used that as your passion. So let's talk about Pass the Torch for Women, if you don't mind.
I would love to. Yes.
Yeah.
So Pass the Torch for Women Foundation exists to empower women no matter where they are in their careers. So it is a fantastic nonprofit organization housed here in Indianapolis, but national, and one day global with the vision of our team. But we are, I know, right? So the whole idea is for us to provide mentoring relationships to those who might otherwise not have access to those meaningful, deep relationships that could continue to push them in the right direction. Again, if I reflect on my life, I know that I would not be here where I am today with you, Chip, if it hadn't been for those mentors, those people in my life to say, I believe in you, you can get through this. But a lot of us don't have that in our life. And it's hard to find a mentor sometimes, right? You can't just go up to someone on the street and ask them to be your mentor. It doesn't feel very organic. And so being able to work with marginalized female college students all the way up to those seasoned executives to create a landscape of, this is how we have intentional dialogue to cultivate meaningful relationships. And then on top of that, what the foundation provides is leadership development opportunities. So let's talk about what it means to be confident. It seems such like an arbitrary word, right? How do you cultivate that? We talk about financial literacy, which is very, very imperative and critical. We also go into topics like, how do you network? How do you build a personal board of directors? And as a result of the foundation existing, we are empowering and making an impact for not just the women at the foundation, but their families and their communities and the future generations. So it's been such a wonderful opportunity to work alongside some amazing people at the foundation over the last 7 years. And I feel like we're just getting started.
So good. So good.
Yeah.
Well, what are 3 things you've accomplished in your life that you're proud of?
That is such a good question. So if I could think holistically, I think that the first thing would be not letting my past define me. I think I've said that multiple times, but I do think that it's something that I'm really proud of, being able to be rooted in my beliefs and feel like there is a calling, there is a sense of purpose, and to focus in on that. And Chip, as you mentioned, the passion piece, being able to feel like that's the driving force and continue to strive forward. So for me, I think that is a big accomplishment for me. And I'm continuing to learn what that looks like every day. Growth mindset is important, right?
Huge.
Yes. But another piece would be the foundation. So professionally, working at the foundation has allowed me to feel uncomfortable at times, right? Putting myself in challenging positions of learning and being around people who are way smarter than me, which is, I think, what we always should strive for. And that has allowed me to kind of grow also find my own cadence as a future leader as well, I would say. And for me, the legacy of Pass the Torch is something that I'm incredibly proud of and proud to put my name next to. And then the last thing would be something that's in the future, and that would be a book launch. I'm actually writing a book right now, and in the new year, we'll be launching that and publishing it. And the whole idea behind my book, and it's something that I've been working on for the longest time, and my family and friends are so excited for when this is actually done. But the whole idea is it's a memoir, and it's a way for me to honor my parents, to say, hey, look at all the things that we have been able to accomplish together as a result of your love and your selflessness. So just telling my story, and I'm really excited about it, but it's also kind of terrifying. So once that's accomplished, it'll feel really good.
Yeah, it's you're right. It is. It can be scary, but I think you know, letting your passion and your fire drive you to do what you do really makes a positive difference. Yes, in the life of others, but more so in your life, because now it allows you to look within to win. And now I think when you do that, you see that growth, it makes you come alive, because like you see like, oh man, I really do have some things to offer, like, well,
Absolutely.
let's do more of this.
I love
You know?
that, Chip. Exactly. I know. And I've been experiencing that too.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I do encourage others, hey, if you don't want to publish a book, that's fine, but just write, because I
Mhm.
have learned so much about myself and just putting pen to paper and allowing myself to be vulnerable. And whether people read it or not, it's almost like a therapy session of
Right,
sorts, right?
right.
and
It's your personal growth process.
Exactly. And I think
Yeah.
we all need that now more than ever, to feel like we're just letting go of some things. We're trying to figure it out and trying to organize it all. So it's been very therapeutic for me. And like you mentioned, has allowed me to feel a little bit more of a boost in confidence too. So
Awesome, awesome. Well, just hearing your story, hearing your journey, hearing you talk about the things that you're proud of, I would consider all of those to be hugely successful. So let's hit on success. What is your definition of success?
Yeah. So for me, the definition of success is something that my brother taught me. And I'm pretty sure he caught it in Alcoholics Anonymous, but it's just do the next right thing. And I love that phrase because it breaks down things a little bit more simpler for us who are always go, go, go. And one day at a time can sometimes seem a little too big, right? So if we just do the next right thing. So my definition of success is maybe calling my mom to check in on her. Maybe the next right thing is being able to hold the door for someone, or maybe the next right thing is something even bigger, and uncovering what that is, getting uncomfortable and designing opportunities for myself to feel like, okay, like the next right thing could lead to something really big. And if we can just do that one step at a time, I think that that's really great. Another thing from a success standpoint is not just growing internally, because I think that we can all do that. My mother is 78. She's going to be so sad I mentioned this on a podcast, but she is still trying to figure out what she wants to be when she gets older. And I
Mm,
think that that is beautiful, and that is success. That is saying, I am not done yet. I have so much to learn and grow, and I want to adopt that into my life to always strive internally to be the best version of myself. And then once you pour into your cup and you take care of yourself and you grow, what happens organically is that cup overflows into others. It overflows into your community. It overflows into those one-on-one conversations. It just overflows. And I think that that legacy, that impact can also be success.
hmm Yes, yes. Well, um, I was gonna say now to the fun part, but it's all been fun for me. But
Yeah.
I guess now to the more fun part, I guess we could say. But kind of off script here. What I want to do is, just in hearing you talk about the things that you've talked about, there were some words or phrases that came up for me. And what I'd like for you to do is when you hear those words or phrases, just tell me what comes to mind for you when you hear them.
Okay.
And
Okay.
it could be a word, it could be a phrase, it could be a concept that you may have, but just what or yes, come to mind, but more so what comes to heart. How about that?
That sounds great.
There you go. All right. So the first word is growth.
Mindset, actually.
Love that. Love that. Okay. All right. The next is a phrase, and that's getting out of your comfort zone.
Expansion.
Mm,
Yeah. I always say, instead of saying, let's get out of our comfort zone, let's just expand our comfort zone. Let's just like widen it more. So I think of expansion.
I like that. I like that idea. I love that. All right. And then I'm going to pause a little bit before the last one, Samantha, because it's a pretty good one. Just giving you a
Okay.
warning. And the last one is legacy.
Mm. So the first thing that came to my mind was Libby. So let me explain.
Okay.
So Libby is my niece. She's about to go off into college, and her mother, my sister, is who we lost. And when I think about legacy, I think about Libby, and I see my sister so much in her and her growth and her aspirations. And as Libby has faced so much adversity in life, like we all have, she has been able to blossom and is something that I am just so proud of her as she continues to grow. And she just applied for college yesterday, actually. And that to me is the best piece of legacy that I could leave, is making sure that Libby is where she needs to be. And however she defines success, she gets there, and she has every resource that she could have. So I think of, and this was so personal, right? That was Libby is what I think of. And I think that if we think of legacy, it's those people, it's the impact, the family members, friends, the people we might not have even met before, right? And we haven't met yet. So that's who I think of, Libby.
Awesome. Well, before we get off, if you don't mind sharing with the audience where they can go follow you and check you out and show you some love.
Yes. So they can go to www.passthetorchforwomen.org to learn more about how to become a volunteer mentor, how to be mentored by some pretty amazing people. And I will say we allow men and women to enter the foundation to be mentors. So all are welcome from that regard. And then find me on LinkedIn. I would love to connect. It's just Samantha Burke, Burke. Let's continue the conversation.
Well, there it is. Again, want to say thanks so much for taking the time to interview with the Success Chronicles. I was excited about doing this interview, and it didn't let me down. How about that?
You are so kind, Chip. You have such a positive energy that is contagious. So thank you. You're wonderful.
Thank you. And thanks again for taking the time to interview. And thank you guys for checking out this episode. We'll see you next time. God bless. Go get it.